Gordon didn't want to take it. 10 to shoot. Another touch here for Jokic. Brown will fire. It's down 3, 10.9 to go in overtime. Harden knocked out of bounds, and it last hit Harden. And guess what? The Clippers cannot challenge it.
This is playoff basketball, and this is Playoff Central Live, presented by State Farm. What a thriller of a game. The Denver Nuggets win it in overtime over the Clippers. We welcome you into our studio. Ashley Shamdi here with Steve Smith and Jalen Rose. The second game of the day today, and it was a lot more exciting than the first, you guys. If this is what's in store for this series, we are in for a treat. What did you like about how Denver was able to finish this game, Smitty?
You know, I thought they closed a little bit better. If you're the Clippers, with that 15-point lead, I think that's what be kicking themselves. But just down the stretch in overtime, the Murray, obviously two-man game with Jokic was just too much for the Clippers. They tried to get the ball out of their hands. Give Russell Westbrook a lot of credit. He made some huge plays. And I thought down the stretch for the Clippers didn't seem as they didn't actually know where they really wanted to go. Everybody in Denver, we all knew where they were going with the Nuggets with that two-man game.
So for the Clippers, they're still trying to integrate Kawhi back in, and Kawhi's a guy that likes to ISO. However, the Zubac Harden pick and roll was working really well for them, and they got away from it. Then they got away from feeding Zubac, who's having a really good season, and then Harden started to take over, started to get to his left hand. He got a couple of layups, a couple of finishes. But Kawhi's late turnover, Harden's late turnover, cost them. But on the other side, they did a great job of multiple players making big threes at different times. Murray hit a couple, Brown hit one, Aaron Gordon hit one, and they just found ways to keep feeding off the crowd and get the win.
A lead is never safe, especially in the playoffs. The Clippers controlled for the most of this game, except in the first for the Denver Nuggets, and then way late in the game in the fourth quarter, the Denver Nuggets were able to get a lead then. But 20-plus points for three players on both sides, definitely balanced scoring by everyone, contributing. But this is just game one, and it felt like a game 7 out there, you guys. And obviously Russell Westbrook playing his former team, the storylines were unfolding, and you could just see the emotion and the effort in a playoff game with this one.
It is. I mean, before we even get into breaking it down, Jalen, Ashley, I want to say thank you to both teams because they both came out and played extremely hard. Yeah. It was fun to watch. The playoff atmosphere, the attention to detail, the effort in this game. Somebody had to win, somebody had to lose, but it came down to two teams really going after each other. I mean, the 50-50 balls, the plays. I love the way both teams competed in this game, Jalen.
I used to use this term to describe myself growing up, but it applies to Russell Westbrook. He has irrational confidence.
Okay.
And that's a gift and a curse for his game because you know you're going to get the effort, but you don't know when he's going to make that play that keeps both teams in the game. And that's what we saw today. He made a big three late, but then, like my high school coach Perry Watson used to say, you're open for a reason. And he's open for a reason. They were literally running done off of him to leave him open. And so for him to still have the courage to make a play, take a shot, hustle plays, offensive rebounds, get late defensive play. He impacts the game in so many different ways that you'll leave him in when he has 5 for 17 and 15 points because he found other ways to contribute.
That man does not lack confidence. I can say
that. when they say move on to the next play, he literally moves on to the next play.
What about guys like Jamal Murray? I mean, a lot of people are saying, we want to make sure we see playoff Murray, and even Aaron Gordon, what they were able to contribute today.
That shows they have been together so long.
Yeah.
The communication was there, especially on the offensive end. When I mean by communication, they don't even have to talk to each other. They know where they're supposed to be. They know where they need to cut. I'm impressed. Jalen hit it. Christian Brown has played some major minutes. He's definitely improved. I like what they did. I mean, the Clippers are still finding their way, but if you're the Nuggets, you're worried about game 2, just the way the Clippers played in this game 1. So this is going to be a fantastic series. I really think when you look at it, they might have to play a little bit bigger, the Clippers. Because once Zubac he shows on the ball and then they leave Aaron Gordon behind him, they might have to play a platoon a little bit more.
Yeah, because Gordon is so athletic and so physically gifted that once he catches the basketball around the hoop and Zubac's not in the game, he's finishing basically over everyone. But you talked about this group being together for a while and winning a championship. The first person's locker that they should be at right now is Michael Porter Jr.'s. You gotta go put your arm around him, let him know that you didn't play, late in the game, and we found a way to get it done. Because if you don't win the game and you don't put him back in, then you got a disgruntled player. He's just a human being, right? And so he's thinking, I helped this team win a championship. Russ is doing some great plays, but he's also struggling some. So when you don't put me back in overtime, he's thinking, y'all better win this game. We better win this game. So I'm happy for the Nuggets that they found a way to close the deal at home.
Russell Westbrook made that huge three. Christian Brown made that huge three for the Clippers, though. What really sticks out when I look at this box score, 20 turnovers for 29 points. I mean, that just cannot happen in any game, but let alone in a best-of-7 series. What do you attribute to just all the turnovers? Was it just sloppy play all around?
Well, it was. I mean, I think the ball is in James Harden's hands so much, and he only had 2. The guy who turns it over the most is Kawhi Leonard. 7. Kawhi Leonard had the most turnovers. I mean, if you have 7 out of the 20 turnovers, and especially down the stretch, that's the one guy who has to play better. And we know Kawhi will, but in this game, he has to take the blame of that many turnovers, having 7 for a guy who doesn't handle the basketball. So Kawhi is the one, if you start to circle. Turnovers, nobody else had more than 2 except him and Norman Powell.
And also, and Powell had 4. But also for the Clippers, they now have to reconfigure Powell's offense. He was an all-star caliber player. Without Kawhi, he was averaging over 20 points. Now he's still trying to figure his shots out, figure his opportunities out. They're going to need his offense.
Do we need to see more from the Clippers bench? You had Nicholas Batum with 9 points, Derrick Jones Jr., but Bogdanovic, Simmons, they both got into foul trouble. A lot of the team obviously got into some foul trouble. James Harden with those 4 in the third quarter. But do we need to see more from the bench in order for them to win?
Well, you would love to. I mean, Ben Simmons, you love him, and I think Nicholas Batum. But Derrick Jones Jr., I think is another guy get more aggressive. You definitely want more from your bench. But this looks like both teams are going to go 5 or 6 guys deep. So I think for me is Clippers, you only lost a game by 2. So you don't panic. And that was the one game they won. The game 2 is going to be very hard for the Nuggets if the Clippers keep this type of pressure on.
And then, of course, Nikola Jokic. He was just 1 rebound shy of another triple-double. Obviously, he played his best basketball in the regular season that we've seen of his career, averaging a triple-double. And for him to continue to do and put up these numbers, what he's able to do is just, it's incredible to watch.
His size, his power, his ability to make teammates around him better, his touch around the hoop, his ability to shoot threes. And also, even being a big guy, this gets underrated. He plays well through contact. Like, he don't really allow people, when he decides he want a spot and he gonna get the basketball there, he goes stand on that spot and he gets the ball. And I like the discipline and the patience that he has when the team is struggling. So they were down big. You didn't see any panic in him. And a lot of times, as you know this, Tricky, like, people are gonna follow their leader.
Yep.
And he kept it very subdued in a lot of ways. Yeah, he was mixing it up and falling on the floor and doing stuff like that, but that's his game. But I like the way he found a way to still lead them even though they were struggling, especially the way Murray was struggling until the fourth quarter.
Absolutely. With him on the floor, the team is +10. With him off the floor, they are -8.
Well, and I would say Aaron Gordon, offensive rebound in that fourth quarter and overtime, made a big difference. Him and Russell Westbrook. Their offensive rebound at key times was huge. I mean, the Clippers have size, but they couldn't get a rebound.
The Denver Nuggets, they take the 1-0 series lead over the Clippers with this overtime victory. Jamal Murray, he had himself a game with 21 points. We got more coming your way.